Hello again. In this video we're going to speak about this remote control. It is a multi-frequency cloning remote which can copy codes from many original remotes which operate at different frequencies. The remote supports frequencies ranging from 280 to 870 MHz. It comes with this instruction manual where you can find a complete list of supported systems. Next to each system, you can see the operating mode, that is, how the remote clones that system. It can operate in 3 such modes. We're going to speak in detail about these operating modes in this video. There are also specific requirements for cloning some systems, for example, BFT, FAC, SLH, and Genius. This will also be explained in this video. We're going to walk you through the programming and cloning process. Let's start with something simple. To enter the programming mode, we'll need to press and hold the first button on the cloning remote. While holding the first button, we'll need to press button 2 4 times. The buttons can be released now. The cloning remote has started emitting flashes. It is now ready to learn the code. Now we need to place the original remote 2 to 3 centimeters away from the cloning remote and press and hold the button we wish to copy. The flashing pattern on the cloning remote has changed. All we need to do now is choose the activation button. We have just successfully cloned this cameo remote, which operates at 433.92 MHz. It emits a fixed code. The fixed codes are copied without any issues. The multi-frequency remote can be used right away. If we check the clone using a signal analyzer, we'll see that it has the same code as the original. We have copied a fixed code. In this instruction manual, the operating mode for copying such codes is called SC, which stands for Simple Code. You can quickly find which systems among those given in the instruction manual have fixed codes. Here we also have this remote by the Russian manufacturer Dorham. Next to this system on the table is the acronym RCS, which stands for Rolling Code Simple. Now, what does this RCS cloning mode mean? Let's copy the Dorham remote by repeating the same steps as before. Hold down button 1 on the cloning remote. While holding down button 1, press button 2 4 times. The flashing pattern has changed. Now place the 2 remotes close to each other, like this, and press the button you wish to copy. The flashing pattern has changed again. The code has been received. Now press the activation button on the cloning remote to which the code will be copied. However, after cloning a rolling code in this mode, the cloning remote will not work right away. The remote will need to be paired with the automation equipment nominally. The pairing procedure will be the same as for the original remote, based on the instruction manual on the control board for that system. Once again, this cloning mode is called RCS in the instruction manual. So if you find the system you want in the table, you'll see that it can be copied in specific modes only. One more cloning mode is the RCC, which means Rolling Code Complex. The cloning principle is the same. However, unlike the previous mode, the RCC allows you to make a clone which can pair with the automation equipment without physical access to the control board. Some systems, Genius for example, support remote pairing. It means that you can use a remote which has already been paired with the automation equipment to send a command to the control board to enter programming mode remotely. This command must be sent within the range of the receiver by pressing a specific button combination. New remotes can be paired this way for as long as the receiver has available memory. Let's demonstrate that. Here we have a Genius control board connected to our test setup. The remotes are not yet paired. Let's start by pairing our original remote first. It takes some time, but we will reboot the receiver to speed things up. Now, if we press the activation button, the relay will click and the receiver will emit a flash. It means that it has been paired. Now to clone the original remote. The cloning procedure is absolutely the same as described before. Hold button 1, while holding it down, press button 2 4 times. When the flashing pattern changes, place the two remotes close to each other like so. Press and hold the button you wish to copy. If you do not see rapid flashing on the cloning remote, it means that there was some error and the signal was not received. When that happens, simply start all over. Let's repeat all the steps again. Now let's check. Hold the activation button for 10 seconds. After 10 seconds, the remote starts flashing rapidly. It is trying to pair with the receiver remotely by using the original code from this genius remote. When it stops flashing, we'll need to wait until the receiver exits the programming mode. This is how the cloning remote pairs with the automation equipment in this mode. Now, when copying the RCC code, after the cloning remote has been paired, the original remote will not work until you have pressed its activation button about 10 times. This is because the cloning remote was using the original code to pair with the receiver remotely, and the activation counter for the rolling code has been moved. So it needs to catch up with the clone. After that's done, both the clone and the original remote will work independently without causing any cross-interference. Now these remotes will work in parallel as fully functional standalone independent remotes. By using this remote programming feature of the original remote, we do not need physical access to the control board. Let us now show you how to clone BFT remotes. The cloning procedure will be slightly different. We'll start as usual by holding button 1 on the cloning remote and pressing button 2 4 times. The flashing will start. Now we'll need to place the cloning remote close to the original BFT remote. Then we'll press the button we wish to copy. The cloning remote will emit a long continuous flash, which will be followed by a flashing pattern, 2 flashes and then a pause, repeated every 2 seconds. If you copy an original BFT remote and you do not see 2 flashes every 2 seconds, it means that our multi-frequency cloning remote did not accept the code. In our case, the code was received correctly. Now we'll need to simultaneously press and hold the 2 buttons on the BFT remote until the flashing pattern on the cloning remote has changed again. Rapid flashing means that the remote is ready to learn the code. All we need to do now is press the activation button to which we want to record the code. The code has been copied. However, the remote needs to be paired first. In some BFT control boards, the remote pairing function is enabled. In the others, it is not. To check that, within the range of the receiver, press and hold the activation button for 10 seconds. After 10 seconds, the remote will start flashing rapidly. It means that it is trying to pair with the receiver remotely by using the code from this original remote. If the remote pairing is successful, the remote can be used as soon as the flashing has stopped. In case remote programming has been disabled on the original control board, we'll need physical access to this control board. There, we'll need to press the Learn Code button and then hold the activation button on the cloning remote for 10 seconds. The cloning remote can be paired with the control board only when it emits rapid flashing. While the remote emits this rapid flashing, it is trying to pair with the control board in the RCC mode. It means that if you try to pair the BFT clone using a quick press of the activation button, it will not work. Let us demonstrate that. Here we have a BFT control board. Let's connect it and try to pair this original remote with it. This remote was already paired before. The cloning remote was not. To pair it, we need to press the Learn Code button on the control board. The next step is to press and hold the activation button on the clone for 10 seconds. Actually, it's better to first press and hold the activation button until the rapid flashing starts, and then press the Learn Code button on the control board. Let's check. We can see that the remote has been paired successfully. Everything works. We want to show you how to clone FAC 433 SLH remotes. Let's reset our receiver. We need to also make sure that the remotes are not yet paired. Now let's go ahead and pair the FAC remote. Follow the instruction manual for the original remote to pair it with the receiver. To clone the FAC remote, start by holding button 1 and pressing button 2 4 times. Now position the original remote and the cloning remote as shown in the video and press and hold the activation button you wish to copy. The cloning remote will start emitting 2 flashes every 2 seconds, just like during the BFT cloning. Now simultaneously press and hold these 2 buttons until you see the flash on the original remote, and then quickly press the activation button. All that remains to do is to press the activation button on the clone to which you want to copy the code. Let's check. The copying was successful.